everyone, welcome to tonight's live. Today is Sunday, September 29th. It is right now 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Usually we do our lives at 8 p.m. But today we had to start a little bit later than usual, right? So an hour later at 9 p.m. But it is what it is. So let's get to the Forex Factory, right? So we're going to go check the Forex Factory calendar right now. What do we see currently for the Asian session? I only have one red folder news, right? For the Asian session right now. It's in about half an hour, actually. Next we have Monday. What do we see for Monday? Monday we have Euro all day, and then we have red folder for USD at 1:55 p.m. So pretty much 2 p.m. it's going to be Chairman Powell speaking. So be very careful trading that day, and even near that market news, right? So when he speaks, it's just extremely volatile. So be very careful trading that. Tuesday we have Euro during the London session, and then we have USD half an hour after the market opens, right? Two red folder news. Wednesday, what do we see? We have red folder news for USD during the New York session open, 1 hour and 15 minutes before the New York session open, excuse me. Thursday, we have CHF red folder news, that's CPI during London session. 1 hour before New York session opens, we have red folder news USD. 30 minutes after New York session open, we have red folder news USD. Friday, we have 1 hour before the New York session open, 3 red folder news for USD. Cool. Without further ado, let's jump on the actual chart. So right here, you're going to see on my daily time frame, I have NASDAQ right over here. We have a couple of different areas here, which we've used as our points of interest. We have this right here. It's going to be on a lower time frame. But I want you to see like this area here, right? So this area, which is 19,898. It was a fair value gap here. That was a bearish fair value gap. It's also the bottom of this liquidity that overlaps over here. Price action broke through it and then retested this area here. This is a very important key area for us. I also have a couple areas marked out with the green, such as this 20,215, and then I also have over here 19,802. These are pretty important levels for us as well. We have a fair value gap over here that I marked out. It was supposed to be bearish, but then price action broke through. So let's make this a little bit easier. See what we're looking at. What's the most immediate price action that we have? So we are over here. So the closest price action that we have something right here actually. Let's check the weekly, because I know I marked out something here in the weekly. So in the weekly, we do have a fair value gap right here, and we have tapped into that, and it has been mitigated. It's going to be a weekly. That's a weekly fair value gap right there. Tapped into it. And let's go down into daily. Daily overlaps with the weekly, so we're pretty much going to use the same area. That's 2446.25. This action tapped into it this past Thursday, and it looks like it's respecting that. All right. Let's clean this up a little bit. So we have this area here that we tapped into. That's a weekly and a daily fair value gap overlap. And then the next is going to be over here. That's going to be 19,897. I mean, longer time frame, I'm expecting this to pretty much retrace all the way down here. We have beautiful entries over here as well that we need to tap into. We have to see how the price action plays out. On the daily, we're respecting that. Looks like it's working its way back down. But at the same time, this is a higher high after breaking out of this equal high here. Boom, boom. Now this is a higher high. Entries. So we have a couple entries over here. Let me clean up the charts a little bit so you guys can see it a little bit better. I have this fair value gap over here. Bullish has been disrespected. But it also overlaps with the fair value gap that we have over here. Same thing here. These are fair value gap, fair value gap, fair value gap. This is a really important area here actually. So let me just get rid of these. We have a fair value gap here. That's not really marking out correctly. Let me just clean up these charts a little bit for you guys so you guys can see a little bit better. Right, so these areas here, I can remove that. I usually use the green levels when I'm day trading. So those are levels that I'm targeting. But so you guys can see a little bit clearer, right? So we have fair value gap here. Boom. Fair value gap here. Fair value gap here. So this is a very important level for us, as well as this over here. I'm actually going to remove this one and focus more on this level here. See, fair value gap, fair value gap, fair value gap. That one looks good. And this doesn't really count. The fair value gap formed right above here to here. So this is the closest like fair value gap inversions that we see over here. This is 19,551.75. So if price action comes underneath that, candle closes underneath that as well as a daily, we're expecting price action to continue going lower. Now we are entering Q4, so I'm expecting what crypto is going to do pretty much, right? I'm expecting this to go up a little bit. So I'm expecting like Q4 to actually rally. I was expecting Q3 to be my pullback. So this over here, boom, 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 September. And we have 2 more days. We are opening high when it comes to the monthly candle in 2 days. So then we should close low and then pump. So we have that level right there, right? 559.25. That's what I'm looking at. When price actually comes down into that. And this level here, I can remove. And then we have a daily and a weekly fair value gap over here, overlap. This action has already tapped into that actually and mitigated it. Let me just bring this back a little bit. Same thing with this. But yeah, that's pretty much been tapped into and mitigated. So it's not as valid anymore. But we're still going to leave it there so we can see like how price action is moving towards that. Let's go down to the 4 hour. 4 hour fair value gap was left there. Price action tapped it. Continuation down. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. I don't really see too much of an entry there. But I should be seeing a retracement, right? So if we draw our fibs from the bottom of this market structure to our current market structure high, you're going to see it overlaps with this fair value gap over here at the 0.705. Almost to the point. What I like to do is I like to use order blocks overlapping with the fair value gap. So like right there at that 19029.75. Which is a point of interest as well. It's already marked out, surprisingly enough, and it overlaps with that too. I would probably use that for my entry. Use that as an entry and then continuation to the upside. And if it rejects and then it breaks through it, it closes underneath it. Get the bottom of this liquidity here. That's going to be 17,982. But then we also have a fair value gap over here, 18,336.50. You can target that as well. So target that first and then the bottom of this wick for liquidity, for your sell side liquidity. Those are the levels that I'm looking at. So right now I am looking for bearish since we do reject off this daily and weekly fair value gap for NAS. So I'm going into this week looking for bearish entries. Now it could rally, continue rally like gold has been doing. We're going into gold right now. Let's go down on the 4 hour. Let's go to gold on the daily. Gold on the daily, I drew my fibs. I'm expecting price action to come back into this level here, which is 25.50 and then continue upwards. But it's been just rallying like crazy. So I don't know if it's actually going to come back down to this level anytime soon. It might not, but it's just very, very strong right now. So on the daily, that's what I'm looking at. We have another fair value gap that formed over here. We can probably use that, but that's at a very, very extended area. That's in the premium. Let's double check, right? Let's pull this fib match all the way up to market structure high. And yeah, we're in a premium zone. So I mean, longing in premium, that's something I would recommend. That's what we're looking for price action to come back down to this level. That's 25.50. We're looking for price action to come back to that. So as of now, we are so extremely bullish when it comes to gold. New all-time high. So let's move this up here. We could probably color it something different. I like yellow. That is a blue. That's a little royal blue right there. All right, let's check you out on the 4 hour. 4 hour, a little choppy. Accumulate. We do have this part over here. 50% of this fair value gap has been tapped into, mitigated. It looks like it's going to continue upwards. Let's see this, drawing the fib. And then, yeah, we were in a perfect opportunity, right? OTE, right? OTE, optimal trade entry. In order for this to tap into that area, confluences, and the continuation to the upside, targeting that 0.27, that negative 0.27 as a take profit. So we are still very, very much bullish. I'm still looking for bullish entries. You can probably get some more, like around like the 15-minute, 5-minute time frame. That's usually what you should enter with. But for now, we're just focusing on the higher time frames, the weekly, the daily, the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, it's already been tapped into, mitigated. So we could probably get an entry over here. Continuation to the upside. We're targeting the liquidity right here at 27.08. Moving on to silver. Silver looks good. Looks like it's, yeah, it broke out of this trend. It was on a nice bearish trend. Broke out with so much force. Continuation to the upside. And now, let's pull our fibs. So from here, market structure low, which is the bottom of this wick, to the current session high, which is right there. What does it tell us? So it pretty much tells us that this overlap here, this order block overlapping with this fair value gap at that 31.54, that's going to be our optimal trade. That's equilibrium, right? So that's 0.5. But the fact that that overlaps with that order block and the fair value gap, I like to use that area by itself anyways as an entry. So the fact that the 0.5 lines up with it perfectly just gives me a nice low confidence to add to that. So I feel confident in putting a nice little alert there and then using that as an entry for a long position, right? So I'm still extremely bullish when it comes to silver. Silver is not stopping, just like gold. It's just pumping, pumping, pumping. Here in this fair value gap, on the 4 hour, you'll see It respected the fair value gap, and it's still sitting above it on the 50. It has not broken through the fair value gap and closed underneath it. It can wick through this and come right back and still be valid, but candle body hasn't closed underneath it, so it's still kind of valid. It could actually wick into that. Even if it closes on the 0.5, it's still super valid because it hasn't broken through the fair value gap. It can wick below it and then just continue up. Pretty much like I said, yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at for right now. I'm looking at that 31.54, using that as my point of entry for a continuation to the upside. And then yeah, probably take my profits right here at the negative 0.27. But if I look left, what does looking left give me? We've already broken through this market structure here, so then we'll probably target right here at this candle body, but we already taken that. Okay, so then we'll continue to the next liquidity point, which is going to be right over here, 33.495, but you can round it up to 33.5, and then we'll use that as a target point. And then that's probably the all-time high so far, right? No, it's not. All-time high is 56.10. So you're going to see, like, yeah, if we look left on the weekly, you're going to see that's an equal high level right there. So that's a very key level for us. So that's 33.50, equal high. Boom, boom. Price action should tap into that and break through it. So closes above it. We're still extremely bullish. Candle closes below it. Then we're going to start looking for shorts in bearish positions. But silver looks really strong right now, right? Then that's not the actual all-time high. The real all-time high for silver is 64.77. So we still have a while to go to hit the real all-time high. There is a lot of opportunity with silver, so don't sleep on it, right? Everyone's so focused on gold this, gold that, but silver has a long way to go. Look at that movement that it has to do. So from where we are right now, current market price to where it needs to go, it's 103%, which is massive when it comes to futures, right? On NASDAQ, if you just make a 0.01% move with the right position size, massive move. So imagine 103% with a swing trade. All right, moving on to euro on the daily. Alrighty, euro still very, very much bullish. Chop City, I don't really see anything too good right there. 4 hour, what does the 4 hour tell me? Inverted fair value gap, boom, fair value gap, boom, fair value gap, boom, fair value gap here with this and this. Still really choppy. Honestly, I do not know where it's gonna go. I wouldn't trade it. For me, it's way too choppy on the higher time frames, so that's not really good price action for me. You could probably trade it on the lower time frames. I actually had an entry right over here, but the price action never went back down to that. So take it with a grain of salt. Let's see what tomorrow shows for us. But for right now, not seeing anything pretty good. Yeah, it's actually kind of rangy too on the weekly time frame. Yeah, I don't really see good entries. Yeah, guys, so just keep an eye on this in regards to your upcoming week, and then see if maybe you can get a nice low entry on the lower time frames. But for now, I don't really see much opportunity there. GBP doing what GBP does all the time, is be completely violent when it comes to the price action. So price action currently sitting out right now. Let's draw our fibs. This is on the daily. We're looking at areas around here. So you're going to see my 0.705 overlaps almost with the key level that I have marked out, which is this fair value gap here with continuation with the uptrend. So that's at 1.2908. Then the 4 hour, yeah, this fair value gap that's been tapped into and disrespected, mitigated. And we have this fair value gap over here. Same thing, tap, broken through, disrespected. Now it's an inverted fair value gap. That's at 1.2748. But yeah, the key level that we're looking at right now, see there's a fair value gap there. Price action testing, retesting, breaking through, then retesting, wicks. Yeah, that's going to be like that 1.2908. So we're waiting for price action to come back into that. We had a fair value gap over here. Price action tapped into it. And then as you can see, closed underneath it, but they came right back up over it. So that became an inverted fair value gap. To me, that's no longer valid because of all that price action that's been tapped into. Same thing with this over here. So that only leaves this area here for me, 1.2908, to feel comfortable getting into that position and then longing from that point on. Because right now we're at an extreme discount zone and we want to long the discounts and short the premium zones. So let's just go with the flow and then tap into that area right there. That's your point of interest. Going on to JPY. JPY is a monster. Go on the daily. So you can see right here, Friday, the 2nd of August, left a fair value gap over here. That 50% mark was this red marker over here, but we tapped into it this past Friday again. So that would have been a nice opportunity there. So I marked that out for you guys last week on the live. So if you're able to, set your alerts for that, you would have been tapped into that and then continued to the upside. So that's a good move for you guys right there. So we're expecting this candle here to close, and then we're going to use this fair value gap inside here for continuation for the trade for an opposition long. Let's see what it looks like on the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, it is closed already, so we can use that actually. So right here, guys, we are looking at 0.0070105. We're looking at that area right there. We're expecting price action to do this. Somehow tap into this and then continue up, and then we'll target the structure high right here for liquidity. That's not bad, 1.88. So that's what I'm looking at right now, guys. And yeah, I'm not gonna go down any lower time frame. We are very much bullish from this point over here from July, but we have a long way to go when it comes to JPY. So this could be a really nice swing trade right here. Massive move. But from this point to this point, we're looking at 7%. Then up to this next market structure, looking at about 19, and then following that about 22. I mean, there's a long way for it to go. A lot of market structures that I need to tap into, and a lot of liquidity for it to take. So keep that in mind. Swing traders out there, like, this is pretty optimal opportunity to get into longs when it comes to JPY. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all have a great and profitable trading week. Bye for now.